Hello everybody, welcome to another skating video on my couch, but I'm actually going to show you a lot of skating videos too, because what I want to do today is to talk a little bit about my progression in skating and also about how I study. If you followed this channel, I mentioned Asha from Skatefresh before. I did a review about her first skating for beginner course that I took and I finished, and I really enjoyed it and I learned a lot from it, so please check that out also. And in this video I kind of want to talk with you about how I going through the intermediate course of Asha from Skatefresh. And I want to start with a disclaimer because Asha actually watched my previous video and she left a lovely comment and we started talking on Instagram, and she offered me to get a discount on the intermediate course and to make another review. So here we are. I just want to say I didn't receive the course for free. I did pay for it, but with a discount. So before we start, just take a mental note that a lot of things are from the past. So I'm already a little bit better than what I'm going to show you. Okay, so let's start. First skill is crossovers. And here you can see the first time that I tried crossovers. So I've been going through the progression in Asha's course about the crossover. And this is like the first day that I was able to make crossovers. I was super excited. I asked someone in the park to take videos of me and she was very kind and she took some videos. So here are my first ever crossovers and a nice heel break. I think the way Asha teaches crossovers is amazing. She's really going a step by step. First, how to get more comfortable about the outer edge, how to even find the outer edge, and how to distribute the weight on your skate, and slowly from a very basic crossover that doesn't really turn you around into a complete circle of crossovers. So like she said in the course, a crossover, it's a very difficult skill to self-teach because a lot of people do a very lousy crossover. And I'm not saying that the first time that I did a crossover was amazing, but here you can see, like, after a few days I did a few more crossovers. But as you can see, my crossovers got a little bit more comfortable. And now when I'm doing crossovers, I feel even better. You know, one thing that I did in winter is to learn how to ice skate. And crossovers on ice skate are similar, but they're also different because the edges feel different, and it feels like the under push of the crossover is so much more pronounced on ice. So now that it's spring, start of the spring here in Berlin, I went to the park a few times and I practiced crossover. I feel like I'm much more confident on my under push of the crossover. And here again, that's the Neue Nationalgalerie, a museum here in Berlin. And you can see this is like the end of last year, and I fell down. So that's a rare occasion of me for falling down because I usually don't fall down. I don't know exactly what happened there. I lost control. Maybe I went a little bit too fast. One thing about crossovers that make me scared a lot is the speed that you gain while turning. It's a very uncomfortable situation to be in. But I think I slowly get more confident about the speed and the turn, and also like the way the body is leaning to the side. You know, you feel like you're about to fall, but you need to kind of trust your technique or the way you distribute your weight on the skate, like to really think about the ball of the foot. And here is a lunge stop, and I think that leads us to the next one. Yes, so a lunge turn and a lunge stop, which is a very interesting skill to learn. I really enjoy doing that. Actually, I start doing lunge turns intuitively with before I even started Asha's course. At the beginning, I thought I'm doing something wrong because it's very different than a parallel turn. It feels different, and the weight distribution is different. But then I watched Asha's course and I discovered that, hey, I'm actually doing something really cool. So I start practicing it more and more. The issue I have with the lounge right now is to do it on my weak side because I'm very good at doing it already on my strong side, to the point where it's actually one of my favorite stopping technique right now. What Asha's course really helps me to do is to revisit the skill again and start from the beginning in a very educated way to practice my weak side, because it feels like I'm writing with my weak hand, you know, it feels so odd to do it on the weak side. So the course is very helpful in that regard. The lunge turn is so much fun. It's like such a powerful turn. It's so much more powerful than the parallel turn. I feel like I can go so much faster with the lunge turn, and it looks awesome in my opinion. The parallel turn looks a little bit nerdy, and I'm a nerd, so I don't care. But the lunge turn looks like an action thing, you know? Lunge stop was actually difficult for me to learn because there is something about the weight distributions that need to happen, and also with the support leg that is different. But Asha's course was really helpful to learn that. There is another lesson that she has there about combining parallel turns and crossovers, and as you can see, I'm not very good at it, but I'm practicing it in the past few days here in Berlin in spring, so a few months after I took those videos, and I feel like I'm getting better at it. During winter, I tried ice skating, and I was very lucky this year that we had a super cold winter that you could also go on the lake. So this is a frozen lake where I had the most amazing skating experience. And as you can see, crossovers and lounge stops also translate to the ice very well. So Asha's course for intermediate can also help you with ice skating. It's not exactly the same. One-to-one ice skating is different in many ways. One thing, it's a little bit of a tangent, but one thing about ice skating that I really didn't like is that you are very confined to a rink. And a rink is small, and you always go on turns, and all those turns make me dizzy, and there are so many people, and you cannot really go fast. And one thing is that with inline skate, you are kind of trained to do really strong pushes. So when you do that on ice, you start going super fast, and that can be scary. Uh, especially when there are so many kids and beginners around you that don't know how to skate and you're going to crash in them. That time on the frozen lake was just like a magical time because this lake is like 2-3 kilometers long and I could skate for a straight line that far, and I could never do that on a rink. But that's very rare. You know, it happens only once every few years in Berlin that we get such a cold winter that we can actually like skate on the lakes. But I'm very lucky and it happened this year. I wish we had more winters like that. Oh, you know what? No. I wish we didn't have any winter. I wish I would living in a tropical country where I could inline skate without winter. Now the T-stop, everybody's favorite move. As you can see, I'm not so good at it, but I'm getting better. I'm also practicing now the weak leg T-stop. I don't like the T-stop personally. It feels like I'm destroying my wheels a little bit too much. Asha has an extensive chapter in that course about the T-stop. I think she has like 3 or 4 videos dedicated only to the T-stops and some challenges, how to practice it to be even better at it. As she said, the T-stop it's an intermediate level kind of stop. It's not something that beginners will feel comfortable doing, even though a lot of other YouTubers said you should only learn the T-stop at the beginning, skip the heel break. I'm much more in line with her approach about it. Yeah, I don't like the feeling that I'm destroying my wheels, and it feels like I need to rotate my wheels every time I go back home, which is never fun, especially when you have the heel brake. Rotating the wheels is a lot of work. The T-stop was a complicated skill to learn, and I'm still not mastering it. It's still difficult for me to get to a full stop. But I'm getting there. I'm much better on my strong leg than on my weak leg. Only yesterday I started doing like T-stops on the weak leg to the point where I can stop. But it's an interesting skill to learn. I feel like I'm using it sometimes when, for example, when I'm cruising, when the 2 legs are parallel and then I need to slow down, I will do that. But if I'm cruising in a scissor position, I would prefer to use the heel brake. So there is like different scenarios for each technique, which is nice to have. I don't feel like the T-stop can provide me an emergency brake, and I think maybe Asha also talks about it. This is why the heel brake is so good for my level of skating, because I feel like the heel brake can really provide me like a technique for emergency brake. I can feel comfortable skating really, really fast and cruising scissor and heel brake and stop really strongly, which is something the T-stop or the lunge turn cannot provide me right now. One thing that I wish Asha had in this course is another stopping technique for emergencies. For example, maybe the power slide. I would love to learn the power slide, but that brings me to the next thing that I feel super uncomfortable skating backwards. I think this year I'm going to focus a lot on that, on skating backwards and learning how to do that. There is something like when I showed you now how I fell when I did crossovers in the museum. I feel like maybe I fell because I like my skates almost started doing like a mohawk thing, and I felt like the wheels are turning the other way, and this feeling is so weird to me and so uncomfortable that I immediately freaked out and lost control. I don't know, there is some kind of mental barriers in my head about it. And in the intermediate course of Skatefresh, there is, I think, only like 1 lesson about how to skate backwards, and she gives like 3 different techniques, like lemons, half lemons, strides, which is okay, but I expected a little bit more. Another maybe progression type video that she's so good at doing about how to take this very, very basic, okay, now I can move a little bit backwards slowly, how to take that to a place where maybe I could feel comfortable actually doing that in my skating sessions. Teaching like a stopping techniques backwards, like the power slide, could be great in that course, but maybe this is for her considered like an advanced move. I don't know. I need to make a correction. Asha does actually teach a stopping technique backwards. It's just at the end of the Mohawk transition lesson. She called it chop chop, which is kind of easy and you don't need a lot of progressions to master that. So my advice is actually to teach the chop chop backward stopping technique a little bit earlier, because the first thing that I want to know is how to stop, not at the end after I learn how to Mohawk. That's like far in the future. Anyway, it's there, it's a great stopping technique, it's quite easy to learn. She does a great job at doing that. Fitness skating is great. I love it so much. I think this is the thing that I'm enjoying the most right now. What she calls fitness skating, it's a type of stride that is not like a pizza stride, but it's more like push and then you go on the outer edge and slide back, and then you regroup, you push and you go on the outer edge to the other side. And I kind of intuitively started doing something very similar before I started this course, but I think taking this lesson really helped me to understand what I'm doing wrong, what I can do better. And I think in the videos here that you can see, maybe I'm still like pronating a little bit or opening my legs to a pizza a little bit too much, but right now when I'm going to the park and skate, I'm really focusing on having like a very straight skate and do this like push and outer edge glide, and it feels so great. It's so much fun. I'm gravitated naturally towards speed skating techniques right now. There is something about this like outer edge glide that I'm really enjoying, and the regroup with the leg outside that kind of get you back into balance. This is where my heart is right now. But that could also mean that maybe I'm a little bit afraid of getting out of my comfort zone, because this is like something that came kind of natural to me, like the lunge turn and the lunge stop. It's kind of like my body gets it really easily, but skating backwards and do the Mohawk transition, and she also has a course about the hopped Mohawk where she kind of like jumps and do the Mohawk, which looks amazing. But I feel like maybe I'm a little bit too afraid to try it right now. There is a mental barrier that I need to overcome. That's my biggest barrier right now. So this is my New Year resolution about my skating progression. I want to learn how to skate backwards. I want to feel more comfortable about it. I want to learn how to do the Mohawk, the hopped Mohawk, and maybe even power slide. Well, that's it for today. About the intermediate course, I wish I had more lessons and more specific skills to learn in the course, like the power slide, for example, that I mentioned, or a little bit more about building confidence about skating backwards. But beside that, like the crossover lesson is spectacular, is something that I revisit again and again, even today when I'm like practicing my weak side crossover. And the lounge lesson, lounge turn, lounge stop, amazing. Like, even though I can do quite a good lounge on my strong side, like I told you, I'm revisiting the lesson for my weak side. The T-stop, so much focus on the T-stop. There are so many bad YouTube videos and YouTube tutorials about, yeah, you just put your legs like that and a T and then magically it happens. And I think even Bill Stoppard had a video, you should never use the heel brake, or you should start immediately from day one, do the T-stop. And I'm like, okay, dude, you're like skating for 30, 40 years or something. And of course for you, it's like second nature, but T-stop is so difficult at the beginning. And I think what's so great about Asha is that she understands that, and she's not patronizing on you and saying, oh, you can do it from day one. No, she really understands it's difficult, and she's going with you like a step by step. She invests so much time in the course only about the T-stop. Anyway, I think that's it for now, and I see you all in the next video. Bye bye.